Right, good morning all.
Good morning.
How privileged am I to be the speaker at the inaugural event. So thank you, Mandy, thanks Bridget, thanks for asking me, and great to be here and great to be in these surroundings. So Mancroft International, very, very briefly, a bit of background. 26 years ago, I started to research why some people enjoy life more than others. Have you noticed that? You can have two people in the same company, the same team, the same club, the same family. One's really cheerful, happy, optimistic, making the most of their lives. Another one's a miserable beggar. Have you noticed that's the case? Now, I was fascinated with the difference. Now, do you think that having high intelligence necessarily makes you a success in life? What do you think? Do you think having letters after your name guarantees happiness and success? Do you think having, I don't know, a great educational background promotes success necessarily? So I was fascinated with the difference. And I have this expression, the world seems to be full of educated derelicts. People who know a lot and useless, yeah? Have you met them? They belong in front of a screen, and don't put them near people, because they're dangerous when they get near people. I'm sure you all met people like that. So I was fascinated. Anyway, 26 years ago, I decided to use all this research, went out and talked to all sorts of people, some famous, some not so famous, and eventually I thought, well, this stuff isn't age, occupation, gender, or whatever specific, nationality specific. Anybody can enjoy a better life. So could I just ask you, play delegates with me for a moment, could any of you enjoy an even better life than you're enjoying at the moment? Is that possible? Okay. All right. I wonder what's stopping you. It isn't what you know, it's what you do with what you know. Does anybody okay with that? You can stand outside a university and rent knowledge quite cheaply. Yeah? Anybody who leaves university degree is just full of potential. Then you need to teach them how to do the job. So, who started their own business here? Who has their own business? Well, how exciting and frightening is that? 24 years ago, there's just two of us. Now there's a few more of us and a bunch of presenters who present our stuff. But we started 26 years ago, fairly frightened, as I'm sure some of you are sometimes trepidatious. Do you think success leaves tracks? Yeah? So find somebody who's doing what you're doing and done it better than you already and follow them. Watch them, see what they do, replicate them. So, successful people have a certain way of thinking. Do we agree with that? Now, once you replicate that kind of thinking, do you agree you can take it anywhere? Now, if we could leave out the other bit, do you think there's any commonality between the way Tiger Woods thinks and a very successful parent, business owner, salesperson, negotiator, influencer? What do you reckon? A sense of purpose in the subconscious mind. If I asked you now, and I won't, but reflect on it, what your main purpose in life is, what you're on this spinning orb for a very brief period, what do you want to leave as a legacy when you go? And I don't mean a statue of you in the local park, but what is it you want to leave behind? And do we agree it could be a very happy, confident family and a successful business? Do you agree that's a great legacy? Okay, personal account, that's one of the most important ones. That's adult maturity, taking full responsibility for everything you have and everything you are, which I'm sure you do. Never complaining about anything, do you? Never blaming anybody. Of course we don't. Next area is understanding and working with human nature. There's a common thread that runs through all human behaviour, which if we can understand, use it positively, we can get just about anything we want from those around us, and they enjoy giving it to us most of the time, which is the way you're currently living your life, aren't you? And if we had time, we'd run a syndicate which includes both Mother Teresa and Hitler. We have some fun with that, I can tell you. Self-image, positive self-image. Now, being an ex-quantity surveyor, for goodness sake, and one of the crosses I will always bear, I will always be an ex-quantity surveyor, which is a bit sad. I was a bit worried about this self-image stuff, which sounded a bit fluffy. But here's a thought. Whoa, there's your goals, which could be personal, but probably business today, yeah? There are your goals, okay? That represents the level of your goals. If your self-image is at that level, I promise you, your goals will always come down to meet the level of your self-image. Does that make sense? I've met so many people who have wonderful goals, but a little voice inside their head says, not for you. You're not from the right background. You haven't got a degree. You were born in a council house, blah, 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 blah. And they end up becoming self-defeating. Has anybody experienced that themselves? Because I have. So it's how we see ourselves. And I hope everybody in here knows that we could all be better than we currently think we can be. Is that okay? That defines where you are in life at the moment. The level of your turnover, the profit you make, if any, your happiness, your peace of mind, the car you drive, where you live, the quality of your relationships, the level of your contentment. So are you okay with that's the basket of your life at the moment, where you are today? Sad but true that some people seem to think it dries the other way around. In other words, they wake up on a cold, wet Monday morning feeling a bit hacked off and they think it's going to be one of those Mondays. Now, what's it in danger of turning out to be? Self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, be honest, have any of you had a day like that ever? So imagine this, you're feeling a bit grumpy, you're about to leave house to go to work or whatever, and your landline rings, and you snatch up and say, yes, And a friend of yours comes on the line and says, I just want to remind you, I'm off to the Caribbean next Saturday for a fortnight. And you think, great. Friend of yours? Then they go on to say, I've just found I can't go. Now, paradoxically, that cheers you up, doesn't it? How good is that? Now, then your friend says to you, look, I can't go, but if you can take a fortnight off from next Saturday, you can have my Caribbean holiday free. It's yours. Now tell me this, if you could take a fortnight off from next Saturday, would your Monday now be seen differently after the phone call from the way it was before? Right. Different reference point, yes? Caribbean looks pretty good compared with two weeks' work. Are you with me? Last example, you're driving in a queue. Do you all drive? Okay, queue of traffic, off to an important appointment. Traffic's getting a bit heavy, you're not moving very quickly, and all of a sudden the car behind you starts blowing the horn. Now, there's nowhere to go, it's queue. Okay, would anybody start to wind themselves up upon hearing the horn? What do you reckon? Okay, however, just as you're winding yourself up, somebody in the same queue rings you up on your BT voice-operated hands-free mobile and says to you, look, you may be getting a bit irritated, but I know for certain the person behind you had just themselves got a message to say one of their kids has been knocked down, far side of the city, they're in intensive care, they don't know if they'll last the day. And all that parent wants you and everybody else to do is just move over and let them go. Now, might your irritation change to some other emotion? Like what? Compassion, empathy, sympathy. So is it true then that that external information has impacted on your thinking, which has then changed the way you feel? Are you okay with that? So you've had an external reference that's changed your thinking. And I suggest to you that in almost every situation, we have the ability to change our thoughts, to change the way we feel. So your actions are the outward evidence of the way you feel, aren't they? So if you're off an important appointment, you're feeling irritated, you're winding yourself up, toxins in your blood pressure going up, are you going to arrive at your meeting in the resourceful state you need to be in, yes or no? Nope. If I ever think, I got myself in this traffic jam, it's just the way traffic is. I didn't leave home early enough. What I need to do is calm myself down, put some music on or whatever, then do you agree you'll arrive in a resourceful state you need to be in? And you can choose that state, can't you? Now, do you think when you arrive at an appointment to see somebody, if indeed you go out and see people, maybe they come and see you, whatever, do you think they're scanning you a little? They're looking at your body language, how you're looking at them, how you're shaking hands, your posture, everything is being scanned. Can you have any effect on the kind of scanning they're going to find or the result they'll get? Yes, by knowing how you can get yourself in a resourceful state. So here's a question for you. Do you all know what flips your switch? Do you know how to get yourself from a bit of a state to a really resourceful state? Do you think it's worth thinking about? You need to know what really turns you on. It could be a special piece of music, it could be thinking about your family, it could be thinking about a great meeting you had last week, but you need something to trigger the kind of emotions that will then turn you into the state that says, I'm up for this, they're going to buy from me, they're going to like me. And by the way, do you always consciously go to a meeting thinking, they're going to like me? Well, why wouldn't they? I'm serious, why wouldn't they? Do you think it's important to have those kind of thoughts? And too often it's little old me, isn't it? Just got a little bit. By the way, nobody in this room has a small business, do you? Do you? You have a business, don't you? When I started this business in 1984, Barry and my partner and I had a determination never to join anything with the word small in it. Do you think it has any effect on the way you think about your business? I'm absolutely serious. Americans, don't sympathise with all American attitudes, by the way. They don't start small businesses, they start businesses, don't they? And they tend to grow bigger than most. And I don't think necessarily want to grow your business, I understand that. But please never use words like little and small. Because you're hearing those words, aren't you? Never mind other people, you're hearing them. Okay with that? You repeat something often enough, it becomes a habit. Now, if you repeat habits often enough, what do they turn into? Well, of course, what you got. And isn't it sad but true that too many people whinge and moan about the circumstances they're in, the profit they're making or not, the lack of clients, the lack of customers, the lack